Hello again, everyone. We are here today to do our tour of the map room. But first, we want to say thank you to everybody who have joined us throughout the week for our tours and also for joining us yesterday. We actually had a really great turnout. So we hope you enjoy our program, and that is up on our Facebook page, the link. And you can also find it on our YouTube page if you visit our website. There is a YouTube link at the bottom of the page, of the main page. If you click that, it'll take you right to our YouTube page, so you can view it there if you'd like. So like I said, today we are actually going to be taking a tour of our map room. It's a smaller space, but as the name indicates, it is where most of our maps, or a good chunk of our maps, are stored. So Lisa's going to do a pan around the room here for you, so you can kind of get an idea of its layout and what we have in here. So we have some larger books, we have survey books, we have some the clerk of court journals, and we have some rolled maps, flat map cases. So we kind of have a mix of stuff in here. So let's take a look at some of these things. So we actually have some tax maps. These are the ones that were behind her, or one of the first. You want to flip around?
Yeah, let me
see it again. So these are the tax maps here. And we have them for the different townships and some of the cities as well. So this is just an idea of what they look like. So this is Spring Valley Township. And this one is from the 70s. Sweep this a little bit. Turn it so it's not sitting on top of that. So you can see that they have them, the index in the front. So if you're doing any kind of research, property research, tax research, these are kind of interesting. So let's just flip to a page here. So you can see what these tax maps look like. So this is for section 23, township 17, and section 23 and 17, township 4 and range 5. So we have them for all of the section townships and ranges. So this is kind of what they would look like. Gives you an indication of the size of the area, what the acreage is, you know, the waterways, the roads. And to give you guys an idea of some of these early survey records we also have in here. Give me a second to close this. So this one starts around 1850. This is actually survey record 3. He's got a little bit of issues there. So I'm going to open him carefully. You can see that most of these start in 1850. And these early surveys, if you're familiar with the way the surveys are done, a lot of times you'll see trees and rocks listed as points of the survey. So there's like a poplar here and a hickory tree. So things now that are likely not there as indicators. So now a lot of times they do use your pins instead, so you're not going to have, the more recent ones they're not going to be using those as your indication of where your property line is. But if your property's been there for a while, it probably does. You should look at your legal description on your property and see what it tells you. You might find something really interesting. So I'm going to put this one away real quick, so we can make sure we have plenty of space. So this is one of the journals. This is a continuation from out in our reading room, these journals. As you can see, these are different than the ones out there. Those were put together, and all those had the handwritten entries. And these are actually, you might have a handwritten index, but when you actually get into the entries, they're the ones that you would see today. So it's going to have the actual printouts from the court of each pleading that they did. So this is a lot different than what you find in those earlier ones. So if you're looking for like a divorce decree, this is where we're going to likely find the majority of them from up until about 1982 here. So, and also if you notice, this paper is, this one's actually not so bad, but a lot of them are on this, a paper they call like thermograph, and it's really difficult to work with, and it off-gas is really bad, and so it breaks down easily. So you have to be kind of careful with those. So these are the journals. The journals go from that corner over here, and they circle all the way around, and then they end over here, the ones in the red binders, and we have up until 1982. Now we also pulled some maps. So this first one is a map of Beaver Creek Township from 1934. And Elise and I were looking at this before we started. And there are a lot of names everyone's probably familiar with. We have Harshman. There was, let's see if we can find all of them again. There's Harshman again. Did you find, oh, Ankeny. And there was Coy and a lot of spots.
Several Coys over here.
Yep, there's some Coys over here. There's Kemp up in this corner. And if you notice a lot of these places where you see those names, you're going to notice roads and schools named after those people. I think we had some others, but she's going to just pan over that a little bit so you can kind of see it.
You can see a lot of Coys. There's Ankeny, Horace Ankeny.
Mm-hmm.
And Alpha is here.
Yeah. Now, some of our favorite maps were actually done by Galloway. And these are the Xenia maps, and these are from 1873. And if you'll notice, these are different than the others, not only because of he did these by hand, but the other difference is you'll notice we have them encapsulated. So this is a Mylar sleeve, and this just protects the document, so this map, from further damage, and it also keeps it in its own enclosure, so it controls the environment for it as well. So that's really important when you have old paper like this. So I pulled this one because you could actually see Woodland Cemetery, which is kind of neat. And you have the Shawnee Run come through here. And then Galloway Street named for his own family. So I really enjoy these. You'll probably see me post these a lot on our pieces of them throughout our social media, because he does just such a great job on these. And he also, I didn't pick one that has a really cool compass, but a lot of his compasses are really detailed and artistic. And in this space, we also hold or put some of our time capsule items. So I actually pulled, this is a newspaper from the Cedarville Herald in 1901. So this is from the 1901 courthouse time capsule. So this is kind of neat because this kind of shows you what was going on in Cedarville at the time. So talks about a Reverend Hutchinson, the Republican primary. You've got advertisements for a jeweler, and then Wren's, which looks like they did a lot of pottery and such. If any of you guys know how long they were around, that would be neat. Oh, it looks like he was out of Springfield too. So you have your announcements for the different churches. local and personal section, those are really interesting in these older ones. It tells you that Mr. and Mrs. went to visit their niece or nephew out of town and are back today. Those are just things that you don't see today. I guess you will go to Facebook for that instead. And then, this is the other side of it, just to give you an idea. I'm not sure if you guys are that familiar with flat storage, but just to give you, just to show you, give you an example. So a lot of times your maps will be in some sort of flat storage. So if we were to go to this one, it's for, these are mostly Cedarville and Jefferson Township. So you have the weights to keep them in place, and then try not to overfill them if you can. But this is what flat storage usually looks like. You can put them into individual files if you want. It really just depends on what you have, your resources, the object itself or the map. So if it requires some extra care, maybe you put it in its own folder. Let's see if we got any others. So the Xenia City, these are the ones where we had that. So here's some more of Galloway's, so I can show you here. Like I said, he always was really detailed on his compasses. And I posted this one, I think last week actually. And then show you one more of his. This one's kind of long. So you can just see the detail. His handwriting itself, honestly, was not so great. But he did a really, really great job on these maps. And that's really about it for our map room. Not a whole lot to see outside of what we just showed you. But we just wanted you to have an idea of the type of records we hold. So tomorrow we will be doing our microfilm vault. It's also a very small space, so probably won't be a very long tour either, but at least to give you guys an idea of what we do. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow.